Hello friends! Having an onion skin feature is essential to all animation programs, and Tahoma 2D is no exception. So let me show you how it works in Tahoma 2D, and you might be surprised at some of the options that we have which are unique to this program. So do be sure to stay to the end to save yourself time and to work smarter as you animate. So let's start by taking a look at the basic way to show and work with the onion skins. So I've built a short animation here, let me just play that. And it's just this little chap waving to us, but I've built in some spacing to the timeline to help highlight specific options of the onion skin feature in Tahoma 2D. But first, quickly, what are onion skins? Well, they're a way to see some of the previous or the following drawings while you draw on the current drawing, to help you work out what you want to draw. And this is to simulate the old method of stacking drawing paper when animation was done on paper. So how do you do it in Tahoma 2D? Well, if I move over to the middle of the waving loop here, and perhaps pick on frame 35, showing drawing number 5, and then if I hover the pointer over the previous drawing that's on frame 33, you'll see 2 yellow dots appear. So if you click on the top dot, you will instantly see the previous drawing number 4, appear in red. And you'll notice that I've marked each drawing with a drawing number so you can tell which drawing is being shown and which are the onion skin drawings. So we can see the current drawing number 5 being shown and the onion skin of drawing 4 in red. Now you can see exactly how far the head, body and arms have moved. So you might decide to move the arm further away, for instance. And as we're still on drawing 5, it'll be drawing 5 that we'll be editing. And we can also show the next drawing by hovering over drawing 6 on frame 37 and again clicking the top dot. And now we can see the frame before in red and the frame after in green. And to help you remember the colour of which drawings are earlier or later in the timeline, the large split circle above the current frame shows red to the left for earlier drawings and green to the right for later ones. So now we can edit the arm, knowing that his arm will move between those two drawings and not move too far or be drawn too long. And then to remove the choice of which frame shows an onion skin, just click it again. And a quick tip here, you can click and drag to add or remove multiple onion skins at once. So let's just add the previous drawing's onion skin back in. And now if we move between this drawing and the next drawing by clicking and dragging on the timeline to scrub between the two drawings, notice that the onion skin dot on frame 33 doesn't move, and nor does the red drawing number 4 shown on frame 33 change whichever frame we're on. And that's because we've added a fixed onion skin. And these are great to use for keeping your characters on model and to scale, to always see the same drawing throughout the whole animation. Notice also that if we move to an early drawing, that red drawing changes to green to show it's in the future. But you don't want to have to remove and re-add the onion skin marker as you move through the animation. You'd want it to follow you. And that's what the second onion skin dot is used for. So let's remove this fixed marker. And then if I select the bottom dot, that's the relative onion skin marker. And you'll notice that the dot is connected to the current frame with a line. And that's to show that it will keep the same distance whatever frame you move to. So if I click and drag to change the current frame, you'll always see the previous drawing as it's 2 frames away. And of course, you can choose future frames at the same time, and have more than one of them, and have a fixed marker too. So we've seen the relative and fixed onion skins, and before I show you the final type of onion skin, let me show you a couple of options that you'll use for all of the onion skin types. So first, if you want to remove your onion skin drawings, you can just remove the dots as I've already shown you. But if you want to just hide the onion skin drawings temporarily, you can just double click on the current frame marker. That's a big circle shown on the current frame. And that hides the drawings and shows the markers as disabled. And just double click it again to show them. So let me just show you a few more drawings here. And you can also change some settings from the Preferences dialog in the File menu. So go to File, Preferences to open that dialog, and then go to the Onion Skin section. So first you can change the brightness of the onion skins by changing the paper thickness. So the thinner the paper, the darker the onion skin drawings show on further away frames. So if I bring this down from 50 to say 5, and then click away, and we can now see more of the previous drawings showing darker. And then the thicker the paper, that can go up to 100, the lighter the drawings show on further away frames. So let's set this to 95. I'll press the tab key to change to another input, and now the drawings on the earlier frames are barely visible. And you can even change the colour of the previous and next drawings. Either change the values in the dialog here directly, so I can change the red to a purple colour, or you can double click on the colour swatch to get a pop-up colour editor and just change it in here. So I can change the green to be a darker green, or maybe a blue. And notice that the markers in the timeline change colour too, so you can easily tell which drawings are previous or which follow the current drawing. And one final option here that you might like, if you find yourself accidentally setting or unsetting the onion skin markers when you're trying to scrub through your drawings, you might want to hide them altogether. So to do that, just untick this top checkbox to hide them, and now you can click anywhere in the timeline header to scrub. So let's turn that back on, and all the markers and their drawings are re-shown. Change the paper thickness back to 50, and the colours I'll bring back to be red and green. Make it a little bit of a darker green though. And there's a few other options in here that you might find useful, so do check them out in the help by just pressing F1 or clicking the help option, online manual. So we've seen the relative and fixed onion skin markers, and there's one more type to see, and that's got a very specific use. And that's for when you want to see a number of drawings ahead or behind the current drawing, regardless of how far away they are. And this is so useful when you've got mixed timing on the timeline, as I have here. So not all of the drawings are shown on every second frame. There's a large gap in between some of the drawings to show them for longer. So if I go to say frame 31 and show one drawing behind using the relative marker, you see the connecting line there, and one in front. So you can see 3 drawings now, the current, the previous, and the next. And if we move forward 2 frames to the next drawing, you can see the drawing prior to this in red and the one following in green. But if I move backwards, at some point, once I go to frame 26, I won't see the previous drawing. And that's because the current frame is showing drawing 4, that's first exposed on frame 19, and the previous onion skin marker is on frame 24, which is the same drawing. But we can still see the next drawing in green for now. But if we move further back a couple more frames, now there won't be a next drawing to see either, as that marker is also on the same drawing. So what can we do if we always want to see one previous and one following drawing? Well, that is this next feature, the relative drawing onion skin. And to use that, just right click on the timeline header where the frame numbers are, and choose the option Switch to Relative Drawing Onion Skin. And that removes the markers that you had set before, and now when you hover over the frame numbers, you'll have the fixed marker available at the top still. But now you've got a square marker at the bottom, and this will show the relative drawing. So if you click on the marker 1 frame to the left of the current drawing, you'll see the onion skin for the previous drawing. And moving away from the current frame, you'll always see the previous drawing, however far away it is. So while I'm on drawing number 4 here, whichever exposure I'm on, I'll always see drawing number 3. And moving to drawing 3, whichever exposure I'm on, I'll always see the previous drawing, drawing number 2. And the same goes for following drawings. So while I'm on drawing number 3, I'll always see drawing 2 in red before, and drawing number 4 afterwards in green. And while I'm on drawing number 4, I'll always see drawing 3 in red, and drawing 5 in green. And you can choose to show a number of drawings still. Just click 2 frames away to see the second drawing, and 3 frames away to see the third, and so on. And one thing you might have noticed while hovering over these dots is the option to right click to change the brightness of the onion skin. And that's to set the brightness of that one specific drawing and to override the automatic setting that we saw earlier in the preferences. So just right click and then choose the new brightness, either less bright or more bright, and then just tick the auto option if you want to continue using the paper thickness from the preferences to calculate the brightness of this drawing. So one last feature that you'll likely need is when you have more than one layer and you want to see the onion skin for all of the layers. So if I show another layer that I've got hidden down here and then play through that, and this other layer could be another character or part of the background that you're trying to synchronize your animation to, or as I've got here, just part of an animated background, just some grass blowing in the wind. So if I turn on the onion skin for the previous drawing only, you'll see the previous drawing for the character, and only one drawing for the background, even though it changes. So to show the onion skin for all layers, just right click on the timeline header and choose Extend Onion Skin to Scene. And now I can see not only the previous character's drawing, but also the previous background drawing. And as we move through the timeline, the previous drawing of both the character and the background changes as you might expect. And to go back to changing the onion skin for only one level, again, right click on the timeline header and choose Limit Onion Skin to Level. And now whichever level you're on, that's where you'll show the onion skins for. So to see the onion skins for the background level, simply click on one of the drawings in the background level. And now we just see the onion skins for that one background level. So that's a quick run through of using some of the best features of using the onion skins, but there are other features, as you may have noticed, in the context menus and in the preferences. And you can read all about those in the help guide. So just tap F1 while you're into Homer 2D to see that. So now we've covered the onion skins, next time I can start showing you how you might use them for in-betweening with pose-to-pose animation. So I'll see you soon for that. And that's a guarantee.